Greetings. Welcome to Little Discovery Corner. I think today I will do an other person reading. And I'll use my fairy deck. Let's see what we get. When I was getting ready for this reading, I didn't perceive anything stuck out to me. I didn't hear any words. I didn't see anything in my third eye. My mind just felt clear and I felt kind of calm. So I think this person, the person on your mind, and whoever pops, whatever name pops in your head as I'm speaking, take it as it resonates. If nobody's in particular is popping into your head, then this message, this might not be your message. So I think this person is just kind of at peace with themselves. They've kind of come to a place where they know who they are, what they want, what they don't want. And they're just kind of chilling in life, feeling good about life. Hey, that's good for them at least. Five of Spring. Opposing goals rising from differing opinions. Feeling at odds with yourself or others. Overly ambitious people. Eight of Bottom. Do more research before proceeding. Education in the form of seminars, going back to school, or apprenticeships. All right, I think they're coming out of an energy of a place of conflict and working on themselves. You have what it takes if only you believe in them yourselves. All right, they were working on their confidence and belief in themselves to follow, figure out what their passion was and follow that. So basically they worked up the courage to leave a chaotic, tumultuous conflict situation to focus on themselves and find new passions, new hobbies, new career paths possibly to follow and pursue. And yes, they're in a good space overall. This is like the Six of Wands, which is like coming home in triumph. So I think they've come home, returned home to themselves, as they say in the spirituality community. That's the goal, your soul's goal. Yes, they're in their sun energy. They've got a unicorn here. And this fairy's like, he's got his trumpet, like, got flowers blooming around him. He's on this pure white horse, proceeding with passion. That's the red robe, the red cloth here. And he doesn't have, other than the robe, he has no clothes, which kind of symbolizes just being your naked self, like symbolically, right? Just being your true authentic self. So this person is just triumphantly, happily pursuing their way forward, coming into their authentic selves, finding peace and happiness. Okay, I think this is two opposing energies. A romantic partner you can trust. Excellent advice comes from the heart. Get involved with cultural or creative endeavors. Five of Winter. Walk away from dishonest associations. Realizing that what you thought what you wanted isn't the best choice for your happiness. Something that's not worth the effort. All right, so either they've found someone, a king of summer, honorable, devoted, mature, warm-hearted, after walking away from romantic game playing, or this is what they're looking for, or this is what they're hoping you become after growing out of an old, like, or an old mindset, which was not healthy for anybody, including yourself. Okay, let me see what else. do I want to add to this? I'll go with elements of impact. Death and rebirth. Yeah, they coming out of the old and into the new. Their old self, in which they felt trapped, stuck, in conflict, and they start focused on themselves to come into a new sense of self, a new sense of self-worth, which lines up with this transformation, new self, or cycle, release, resistance. Yeah, letting go of the past, letting go of old mindsets, letting go of emotional clinging to anything that's not serving your greatest and highest good. That's what they focused on. Balancing out, yes. Which is all part of coming home to yourself and like letting your ego die and your soul rebirth into a new sense of balance, a new sense of self, and a new sense of emotional peace. Inner darkness. After, yes, you go through the dark night of the soul, you do your shadow work, delve into your psyche, figure out why you're, say, letting yourself get into patterns of, say, dating, fearful avoidance, for example, who run when you chase. And so I think they dug deep to do that inner work, that shadow work, to come into balance. Do this. Come into balance and let their inner self be reborn and shine through. Honor phases. Respect where you are. Self-care, sync with cycles. Yeah, and they're just going with the flow. Go with my what's the tea. Add on this person. Yeah, to clear your bad karma, you dig into your psyche, your unconscious ego, your subconscious, and do your shadow work in order to come into balance. And the skull reminds me of, yeah, death. The death of, they let their ego die, they cleared their karmic slate, paid their karmic debt, which is all about learning the lessons your soul wants you to learn so you can grow and mature. Child services. I'd say, in light of the theme of inner work, I'd say this has to do with taking care and protecting their inner child. I think that's what the inner work, the shadow work was all about. Anything, yeah, any traumas that were haunting them from, say, they're deep in their past, that may have been causing them to be an anxious attacher, for example. Anxious attachers, from what I understand, are usually rooted in with abandonment wounds, abandonment traumas. Yeah, and they discovered things about themselves that needed to be addressed. Old traumas, old wounds, whether recent or going back all the way to childhood. Let emotions come up, let them feel them, process them, let them go in order to come into balance and a new sense of self and letting your true, authentic inner self shine through with confidence. Not bad. My woodland word is. This always makes me think of like getting out into nature, getting on a trail. Upheaval. Yeah, this lines right up with this row here. The vultures are associated with death, but also, you know, they come to a rotting organic material, and they clean the bones of all of that, you know, death and decay, and then the bones can fade away. Oh, that's what I remember. That's what I learned about the tradition, Zoroastrianism, where they put their dead out in the sun, let the vultures clean the bones, and let the sun just bake the bones into dust, and then the dust releases back to the earth. So new things can grow out of it. I kind of like that. It's actually not, you know, in the West, that's kind of weird, but I'm like, I definitely don't think it's any weirder than pumping our dead full of chemicals so that they last a little bit longer, even when they're buried underground. We don't see them anyway. Communication, yeah. I think this person was learning to communicate with themselves, with their inner child, their higher self, so that they could figure out what they needed to release and let go of and let die so they could come into balance. Yeah, they've grown new emotional intelligence, a new sense of discernment, and listening to their intuition about situations, knowing when to walk away and when to let go. Yeah, and how to keep themselves safe, how to protect their peace and their inner child. Okay, so yeah, they've been doing the work, as they say in spirituality communities, to mature and grow. I'll get out my self-made deck. What would this person say to the collective if they could be totally open and honest? And, you know, if you reach out and are open to an open heart-to-heart, honest conversation, they might actually say these to you if you reciprocate with things you would say to them if you could be totally open and honest. They would appreciate it, even if you have something to complain about. As long as you're, you know, constructive about it, about making clear that's just how you feel and may not be their fault. That's just the effect it had. So it could be a way to communicate things that might not be taken happily, but it could cause someone to think and reflect. Just as you, if any of these may be triggering to you, maybe pause and think and reflect. Oh, nothing wants to come out. Is there anything this person wants to say? Anything this person would like to express to the collective? When will be the right time? I am on the back burner. Okay, maybe that's something they felt they needed to walk away from. So they felt they weren't a priority. Maybe they felt that they were an option. And they wanted to find someone who was willing to put in the time and attention. I miss you. Okay, so maybe if they're not with someone else right now, they're focused on themselves, but they're open to reconciliation and reconnection if you have grown out of the old energy into honorable, devoted, mature, warm-hearted king of summer. Okay, I think I will close out with some Moonology. You and your loved ones are safe. Okay, this could be having to do with maybe it like terrifies you to the thought of reaching out to this person and being open and honest and letting yourself be vulnerable because you're afraid that would make you weak. Like being open and honest about how you feel is perceived as weakness. You're supposed to be stoic and detached all the time. Balance. Spirituality and practicality. This ties right in with doing the work to balance out. Time to release negativity. Yeah, what was I just talking about? Maybe, yeah, This is a sign to do your own inner work. If connecting and making time, putting this making this person feel like they're not on the back burner, they're not an option, they're not, you know, hard to make time for. Coming into this King of Summer energy, if that's something that frightens you, that makes you kind of clam up, feel anxious, then yeah, work to release negativity and come into balance. And that could also include seeking out some sort of counseling from a qualified professional who can help you walk through that. Okay, I hope that has helped someone out there today. I will see you next time.